Greetings, citizens of Gotham! It's me, Movie Man, back again with another video, and today we're going to be ranking the seasons of Gotham from my least favorite to my favorite. Now let's go! Coming in last place is Gotham Season 3. The third season of Gotham, I don't think any season of Gotham is bad. I think each one is good in their own way. I just think out of all five, Season 3 just happens to be the weakest of them. The main things that happen this season, first we get the Mad Hatter as the main villain. I'm one of the few who actually like the Mad Hatter. I think the actor who they got was really good. I think no, I don't think he was really. He shouldn't have been the main villain for half the season like he was. But I do think he was a good villain, and I loved some of the stuff they did with him, especially the Tea Party scene. That was a lot of fun, I think. It was just so cool how, Gordon comes in. He's got this tea party set up with Lee sitting across from Valerie Vale, the two women in Gordon's life. Crazy stuff. I mean, so sadistic and twisted, how all of that goes down. So creepy. I enjoyed it. And then it moved on, and the villain ended up being the Court of Owls, which I think was okay. They weren't like super cool and amazing, but I do think wrapping up what they wrapped up in season 3 by the end with Bruce and his parents and Gordon and his parents, I thought was very interesting and very cool. I think it was very cool what they did with Gordon and his uncle being alive and being a part of the Court of Owls and him being responsible, for the car accident that Gordon was in. Apparently, it wasn't even a car accident. It wasn't an accident. It was on purpose. So I think the whole story that they did there was very intriguing, and I thought it was very cool. I also think the war between Penguin and Barbara / Riddler and company, I think was very fun. I think Penguin and Riddler are great together. There's this one scene I remember from season 3 where they get locked up in a cage together by the Court of Owls. That whole bit was just so fun and great. The chemistry between the actors who played Penguin and Riddler, Corey Michael Smith, and Robin Lord Taylor, I think were just great. A lot of fun. I actually liked Barbara Keene this season. The previous 2 seasons, she was just okay. I mean, in season 1, she was just meh. I didn't really care that much about her. Season 2, she was just really weird, and I mean, it was kind of fun, some of the weird stuff that she would do, but she just, I don't know, I never really cared that much about her. And then in season 3, I actually kind of liked her a little more than I had the previous 2 seasons. Tabitha was okay. Butch, I always liked Butch. Butch is, he's just fun. And it was interesting that they were kind of doing a little relationship thing between Butch and Tabitha. Crazy how all of it ended, though, with Barbara killing Butch and then Tabitha killing Barbara because Barbara killed Butch. All of that is just crazy stuff. And the way it ended between Penguin and Riddler, I think, couldn't have ended any better. Penguin made Riddler think that he had the upper hand and then tricked him, and they froze him. Mr. Freeze froze Riddler in a block of ice. And I love the ending and what they set up for season 4 with Penguin opening his Iceberg Lounge, which is super cool and such a classic thing for the Penguin, his club. Poison Ivy, the things they did with her that season was kind of weird, but not bad. I mean, they aged her up, changed the actress. I preferred the actress that they got, to replace her. I think she's a lot of fun, and I've never been a huge fan of Poison Ivy. She's just been, another Batman villain. But I do think the actress they got to play her after she was aged up, I think, was pretty good and made me enjoy her when she was on screen. And then, of course, the best thing in the season was when Jerome comes back to life, kidnaps Bruce, and shuts off all the power in Gotham, and has his little amusement park. And then the mirror maze scene where Bruce and Jerome have have a classic Batman and Joker scene. What a great story arc that they had with Jerome. So overall, not a bad season, just not as good as the other four, in my opinion. Moving on to fourth place is season 2. Season 2 was a good season. Like I've said, all of them are pretty good seasons, but season 2, they did some things I didn't like, and they did some things I did like. So the first half of the season, the villain was Theo Galavan. Not a huge fan. He was just there. He was just another villain. He was kind of boring. I prefer when Gotham uses the classic Batman villains, or Batman villains that, are lesser knowns, or, just Batman villains from the comics and stuff. Where Theo Galavan, now I'm not 100% sure about this. I could be wrong. Tell me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Theo Galavan was made up for the show. And he wasn't a bad character. He was just kind of a meh character, He wasn't great. He wasn't terrible. He was just okay. And what they did with Gordon and the conflict, where Gordon kills Galavan, I just thought was ridiculous. Like, especially with what we get in later seasons, where he's able to just let Jerome die or whatever, and he tries to save him, but yet he just shoots Galavan in the head. Just seemed really weird. I mean, Galavan wasn't even that bad of a villain. Like, he didn't do that much bad stuff. Jerome's done way worse, and yet, and Penguin and Riddler, they've all done way worse. And yet, Gordon tries to save them. He doesn't try to kill them. So the fact that he just shot Galavan in the head just seems so weird and out of place for Gordon's character. Again, Penguin, probably the highlight of every season. Penguin is great this season. I wouldn't say it's his best season, because I think his best season's probably season 1, but season 2 is, I'd say, probably his second best, because in season 2, he just does everything they do with Penguin I pretty much liked. Okay, so they had him as the king of the underworld, which I'll get to a little later and when I start talking about season 1, but in season 2 he's the king of the underworld, and Galavan's running for mayor, and Galavan wants to get rid of the competition, so he tries to manipulate Penguin. I love the way that Galavan and Penguin's relationship is. I love their little back and forth of Penguin saying, like, I'm not gonna let you get a one up on me, and then because I'm better or whatever, and then Galavan's like, no, I'm better, and Penguin it drives Penguin crazy, and I love that. I just enjoyed that so much. When they killed Penguin's mom, I like that too, just because it really drove Penguin over the edge. And that's when, he goes to Arkham, he meets Hugo Strange. Hugo Strange kind of does this weird treatment to him that makes him the nicest guy in the world. That was so much fun. And then he sends him out into the world. He's just so weird. And he finds out his dad's alive. He goes to live with his dad, and he finds out his dad... It's like Cinderella, kind of, in a weird way. But he goes to live with his dad, and he now has an evil stepmom and 2 bratty children, her son and daughter, who are mean to him. And then after his dad dies, and he goes to live with them, they make him their slave, which I really hated, because, Penguin was my favorite character, and them treating him like that, and him just taking it, I just did not, I didn't like that. But of course, he gets him back, and that is just one of my favorite episodes. It's called Into the Woods. It's closer to it's in the back half of the season, but I love that episode. It's one of my favorite episodes of Gotham, because two big things happen in that episode. One is Gordon discovers that Ed was the one who framed him, which I'll talk about Ed in a minute, because he's the other highlight of the season. But Ed framed him, sent him to Blackgate, and Gordon got out, and Gordon found out it was Ed, and Ed tries to kill Gordon and get rid of the body. And then they find out that he was evil. And just everything they do with Ed in that episode is fun. I love it. It's just so good. And then what they do with Penguin is so good as well. So Penguin finds out that the stepmom and the two kids are responsible for his dad's death. So he does what any natural human being would do. He takes the children, kills them, cooks them, feeds them to the mom. Then after the mom realizes it's the kids, he kills her. I mean, what would anybody else do, right? Just kidding. No, that is so crazy, but so Gotham. And I felt kind of good seeing Penguin get revenge, you know? They treated him like crap, and I mean, okay, that's so dark, but like, it's Gotham. It's what I love Gotham for. They do the unthinkable, they do the extreme, and I just love that. And so Penguin doing that, oh my gosh, that was so crazy. Season 2 was such a great season, and it's so low on the list, and it's hard to believe because I'm talking so great about it, but it's just where it is. And I do think when they moved on to Hugo Strange, Hugo was a fun villain. I loved Hugo. He was just such a fun character. And then they do the stuff where they're bringing people back to life. They brought Jerome back to life. They bring Fish back to life, which I kind of think Fish could have stayed dead. But I do think that in the finale when Penguin, tries to kill Hugo and she steps out behind him and he sees it's her, that is so great. The look on Penguin's face when he sees Fish is so crazy good. I loved it. I also loved the whole Riddler kind of scenario where Ed has Bruce and Lucius in that cell and he's threatening them. He's going to release poisonous gas into the room unless they get the answer correctly. That is such a Riddler thing, and I love that. That was so great. Some things that were just not as good, like I said, Galavan. I think it was better when he came back to life as Azrael. I think that was really cool. Barbara was just really weird. I did like the church scene where she has Gordon tied up and she's walking down the aisle in a wedding dress with a shotgun. That is so crazy Gotham. And Lee's there. It's just so crazy. I love it. But it just doesn't... The other seasons that I'm about to talk about just happen to be a little bit better than that season. The other thing about season 2... One more thing is that the Lunatics arc at the beginning where Galavan breaks out Jerome and Jerome really gets to be crazy Jokerish with some other crazy characters. Love that too. Alright, so moving on to third place is Season 1 of Gotham. So Season 1, of course, is the season that got me intrigued into the show. So obviously, it's got to be a good season if it got me interested in the show. A couple things that it did that I really loved. It explored Bruce and his traumatic experience after Bruce's parents' deaths. They kind of give us some answers a little bit on what happened to Bruce's parents. They have the classic Gordon and Bullock trying to find out who killed Bruce's parents. I love the cop drama. That's something that they don't really have the rest of the show. That they had in season 1 with the mob, Carmine Falcone and Sal Maroni, Fish Mooney, Butch Gilzine, Victor Zsasz, Penguin. All that great stuff was so much fun. I love the little teases at Batman villains, like having Edward Nygma, the CSI or whatever he was, at the GCPD, working alongside Gordon and Bullock. I thought that was cool. The darkness that was Gotham, the whole, being in Gotham in that season and how things were, the way people were, and how messed up a city it was. I just love it. I love the feeling of that season. It's just such a fun season. And the highlight of the season is Oswald Cobblepot going from Fish Mooney's Umbrella Boy to the King of Gotham, which is where he ends up at the end of the season. I think the whole season for him was just amazing. It was his best season, Penguin's best season. Miss Kringle and Ed having their little relationship was a lot of fun. I think the transformation of Ed in season 2 is a little better, but season 1, a lot of fun. His interactions with Miss Kringle, Maroni, and Penguin. The relationship between them is so much fun. Because Penguin's outsmarting Maroni at every turn, and then Maroni kind of gets wiser, and then kind of, plans to kill him by taking him up to this cabin where it's just them. So much fun. I continuously am saying it's so much fun because that's what I thought Gotham was. I just thought it was a great, fun show. And season 1 was just a fun season. They even had Scarecrow's dad, and they had Scarecrow as a younger. He was like maybe 18, somewhere around that age. So kind of cool. They had Ivy when she was a kid. They had Kat and Bruce and their relationship that grew throughout the season, which I thought was really fun. Victor Zsasz, what a great character. I think he's probably the closest to his comic book accurate character in season 1 than any other season, but he gets pretty good as the seasons go on. Fish Mooney, very weird character, but I kind of liked having that weird character. I wasn't a huge fan of Fish Mooney, but I did love the rivalry between her and Penguin. I love the rivalries between Penguin and any other character, really. His interactions with almost every character were pretty great. But yeah, overall, I just love the way the season went. And going on into second place is season 5 of Gotham. There is only one reason season 5 is below season 4, and that is because it was only 12 episodes. If it was more episodes, it probably would be better than season 4. But because it wasn't, and there's just some, problems with season 5, I have to bump it down below season 4. So season 5 did a lot of great things. First off, the tone. I love the tone in season 5 of the messed up city again, just this time messed up in a different way. I loved it. It was just so much fun. A couple things that I think were, a lot of good, really good in season 5. One, Penguin, good as always. The third episode was called Penguin Our Hero. Probably one of my favorite episodes that whole season. It was so good. All the Penguin stuff. Penguin and his dog, Edward the dog. I love that. Riddler, I actually liked the story for him this season. I was kind of afraid it was going to be the same thing that we've gotten every season with Ed, but they ended up turning it into something else, and I liked that. I love Bruce in this season. I think he's very much Batman. There's a great episode, and you probably all know what I'm talking about, where Jeremiah, I can't think of what it's called, but where Jeremiah, it's called Ace Chemicals. Jeremiah does some messed up stuff. Jeremiah's plan comes to big thing in this episode where he surgically has these two, he surgically changes these two people, this couple, to make them look like Thomas and Martha Wayne. How crazy is that? That is so psycho and messed up. That was so fun. That was so great. The stuff they did with Jeremiah in that episode was fun. Very nodding to the comics with Joker. They even have the classic battle between Bruce and Jeremiah in Ace Chemicals, where he falls into the vat at the end. So great. They blow up Wayne Manor, which I didn't expect. I thought that was crazy. They had Mad Hatter in the episode, which again, seeing Mad Hatter return was a lot of fun. I also loved the Mad Hatter in this episode. I thought he was, he got rid of the beard and the mustache, and the outfit he was wearing was very, cartoony, and I thought it was very classic Mad Hatter. And Echo being the kind of prototype Harley Quinn, a lot of fun. Ed being the one who was responsible for blowing up Haven was crazy. Having Scarecrow there, and what was really cool. I wish he could have been in more, but he was only in like 2 episodes. But he was cool in those 2 episodes that he was in. I kind of wish they could have finished up. See, this is some of the reasons why it wasn't that great. they didn't get to finish a lot of their stuff. Mother and Orphan they set up in episode 2, and they didn't really get to do any more with them. They set up Man Bat at the end of season 4. They didn't get to do anything with him. Oh, they also got to do a lot of cool stuff. They had Selena become Catwoman, which I think worked really well. They had Bruce leave at the end to go travel the world, which was really cool. They had Nyssa come into the show, and she was wanting revenge for the death of Ra's al Ghul, which I thought was really cool. And I'm glad they did Nyssa and not Talia, because if they had made Talia older than Bruce, it just would have been weird because of how Talia and Bruce are supposed to have like a son in the future. So I think that would just be weird. So I'm glad they went with Nyssa. Having Bane in the show was really cool. They did a whole kind of Dark Knight Rises type thing, but I think it worked really well. I really liked Barbara in this season. I liked her. This is my favorite season of Barbara. I'm kind of okay that they killed Tabitha off in episode 1. I think she was in the show for far too long. She overstayed her welcome, and I think the way that she died was stupid. Penguin overpowering her with a knife. I thought that was really dumb and should not have happened. I'm glad Penguin killed her. I just wished it could have been a different way. A couple other good things of season 5 was the finale, which was very cool. The time jump into the future. Awesome. I gotta say, though, I think that the episode before it was a better episode. Just because season 5 was so rushed. I think that's the huge problem with season 5, is everything was rushed. Okay, another good thing that I loved that they included in season 5 was the ventriloquist in Scarface. They are one of my favorite Batman villains, and they were never in the show, and I was so upset, and I was like thinking they were never going to be in the show. But they found a way to include them in the season, and I think they were great. I'm upset that they killed them off, but what a great, inclusion. I love that they were in it. Bringing Poison Ivy back was okay. I'm not a huge fan of her, even though I think that the actress they have playing her now really embodies the character better than the other two. But then again, like I said, I've never been a huge fan of Poison Ivy, and I think even though I think she was a great Poison Ivy, I just wasn't a huge fan of her. Having Zaz come back twice, though, was just so much fun. I loved having Zaz back. Hugo Strange coming back for a few I think he was in like one episode, but nevertheless was very enjoyable. Having Jim and Lee getting married, that was okay. The episode Trial of Jim Gordon, I really did not like that episode. It was such a filler episode. It was just kind of boring. They could have done something else, in my opinion, and it would have been better. But nevertheless, season 5 is in second place. But coming in first place is season 4 of Gotham. Just because season 4 was a lot of fun, and I feel like season 5 would have been just as good. It's just, time constraints. But season 4 did a lot of fun stuff. They had basically everything with Jerome, Penguin, and Jeremiah were really awesome. Penguin going to jail, first of all, was a lot of fun. Him in jail with Jerome, probably the best things of the season. And then, of course, when they break out and Jerome puts together a team of villains, including like Mr. Freeze, Firefly, Scarecrow, Penguin, and Mad Hatter. So much fun. That was just so cool. And Jerome put together this team of these villains. He called them the Legion of Horribles. Not a great name, but I didn't really care. Everything they did with them was a lot of fun. The whole Penguin betraying them, and then Mad Hatter and Scarecrow tied Penguin up to the blimp. That was a lot of fun. That was very cool. I just love that. That whole story arc was easily probably the best story arc they've done in Gotham. It was just so much fun. And then, Jeremiah being introduced was, that was okay. And then Jerome does the whole leaving him a present, and then it gasses him, and then he becomes crazy. Jeremiah, I didn't like Jeremiah at first, but I do think, he ended up being really good. He was way better in season 5, but season 4 he ended up being okay. He was showing us another side of the Joker, And I love that they cover all these different sides of the Joker character, and I think they did that really well. Another thing that was really a lot of fun was it was just okay, and that was Sophia Falcone. I think she was an okay character. She wasn't anything amazing. I just think she was fun, and I think her rivalry with Penguin, even though I don't think it was up to par with Penguin's rivalry with Fish, I think it was a good rivalry. She suckered him in. She totally tricked him. And when he realizes it, it's just so good. And then he gets sent to jail because of it. What a great story between them. I think the actress who played Sophia did a great job. She was kind of like Penguin. You know, she was beating Penguin at his own game, and I kind of liked that. I thought that was kind of fun. Okay, and then Martine. I loved Martine, and I'm upset they didn't get to use him more. But Penguin and him, when they would dress the same, have the same hairstyles and whatever. I loved Martine. Whenever he was on in an episode with Penguin, he was a lot of fun. So definitely enjoyed that. Professor Pig also kind of was tied into that story, and I think he was very Professor Pig. Like, he spot on character. I'm not a huge fan of Professor Pig. I thought he was very weird, but I think in a good way. I think he was weird. I'm not a huge fan of what they ended up doing with him. Instead of having him just be a psychopath, he ended up being just a hired assassin it was just a persona, and he was like a country speaker. Not a huge fan of that. I think it could have been better, but I do like the conclusion that they had where Lee gets her revenge on Sophia because Sophia had done, she had taken everything that Lee had built or had, kind of secured in the Narrows and took a hammer and like smashed Lee's hand. That was messed up. And Lee got her revenge by shooting her in the head. I think it was the head. I don't remember now, but very cool. I think what they were doing with Lee at first was good, and Riddler was okay. We found out Butch was alive and he was Solomon Grundy. I think that was really cool. And the interactions between Riddler and Grundy were a lot of fun. Riddler going to to this fight club with Grundy, trying to earn money to become smart again, I think was a lot of fun. I think what they were doing with Tabitha and Selena was pretty cool. Tabitha was training Selena how to be a good fighter and stuff, which I think was really cool, and how to use the whip and stuff. Very cool stuff. And then, of course, we find out Barbara's still alive, and Ra's al Ghul is the one who resurrected her, and she's very odd when she comes back to life. But I love the stuff that they end up doing with Barbara and Tabitha and Selena. I think kind of worked. It was a very Birds of Prey type thing, which I think was cool. I'm not a huge fan of what they ended up doing with Barbara and the story with the League of Assassins. Her being the demon's head, and then Ra's coming back and wanting it back. He takes it from her pretty easily. Which, that was okay. But then the whole killing the men of the League at the end and just having the Women's League, I thought was just very political and very in your face. Gotham isn't one for doing that stuff. And I'm not saying that stuff is bad. I love it more when I like it more when it's more there, but written. I just didn't think it was written very well. It was very shoved in your face that it was, women, not men. I just wasn't a huge fan of that. I thought that was, and it kind of carried over into season 5 a little bit, which I thought wasn't amazing, but I think they could have written it a little better and it would have worked. It just, the way they wrote it, it just didn't work for me. I do think Ra's al Ghul was a cool addition to the show. I think his effect on Bruce was very, very well done. I don't like what they did with Bruce, where he was kind of just getting drunk, being an idiot, firing Alfred again, which him firing Alfred all the time, I just hate that. I just don't like it. Once is good, but he did it twice, and I don't like that. That's not very good, in my opinion. But him just getting drunk and doing whatever he wants, I just did not like that. When they got over that, he started getting good again. and then he got really good closer to the back half of the season, thank goodness. But the first half for Bruce just wasn't very good. Alfred wasn't treated very well, and I don't like that. Um, but still, nevertheless, the season did a lot of great stuff, like I've already said. And, in the end, and then, of course, in the finale, what a great twist. Penguin devotes all this time to getting Butch better. They finally get Butch better, which, with the whole Butch getting better thing, when Butch got his memories back but was still Grundy and wanted to become, Butch again, and Penguin was like, I'll help you and whatnot, I thought that was good. But then when Penguin says we have to get money in order to pay Hugo, I thought that was kind of stupid because they could just force Hugo to help, which, of course, I thought it was stupid at first because then when Penguin revealed his plan in the finale, I thought, okay, never mind. It was just kind of dumb on Butch's part. But yeah, Penguin shooting Butch after he got better just because he wanted to get back at Tabitha for killing his mom, I think was such a great, so well written, so well done. I just love that. I remember being so excited for season 5 just because of that scene alone. And then, the way it just kind of changed at the end where the bridges were already blown. Gotham's kind of its own island now. Penguin takes territory. Riddler and Lee, after killing each other, which, by the way, was pretty well done as well. Penguin saying to Hugo, fix them or whatever, I thought was cool. I was interested to see what Hugo would do with them. I liked, and then, you have Mr. Freeze, Firefly taking their own territory, Scarecrow, Man-Bat, Mother and Orphan. It seemed so cool, and it was setting up a great season. So I was very, very excited. Oh, so going into the whole Lee and Ed thing, their relationship wasn't very well written, in my opinion. I don't think they were, or maybe it was well written. I just was not a fan of it. I kind of just thought it was a way to sideline Ed, and I don't like when Ed is sidelined because he's one of the best characters, in my opinion, on the show. And him being, in the B story or the C story, not in like the main storyline with Penguin and the others, just kind of is upsetting to me. And I really wish he could have been in that team of villains with Penguin and Jerome. That would have been so much fun and so cool. The other thing so with what they did with Lee and Ed at the end, where Ed was going to kill Lee, but then Lee kills him first, I thought was very cool. I liked what they did. I think Lee became a good character in season 4. I wasn't a huge fan of her before that, and season 4 really made her a good character in my opinion. So I liked Lee in season 4. I also loved the little Riddler factory thing that they did with Ed in season 4. I thought that was fun. It was only an episode, which kind of stinks. I wish it could have been more, and I wish it could have included like other characters besides just Lee and Ed. Here's another thing that I was kind of upset about is Penguin comes up to Jerome with Solomon Grundy or Butch and introduces them, and Jerome's like, wow, you're a tough guy, you're gonna be, and Penguin's like saying he should be a good asset on our team. I was like, oh cool, they're gonna have Grundy on the team now, what a cool team of villains. And they did nothing with that. After that episode, Penguin and Grundy, well, Penguin was still in the Jerome story, but Grundy was completely separate and he was not included in that story. So they set it up and then they didn't do anything with it. Kind of upset about that. They also had Poison Ivy in that season. She wasn't that bad. I think what they did with her was okay. I was kind of upset that they had aged her up even more. I think they should have just kept her at the age that she was at. But they did, and I think the actress they got did play a better Poison Ivy. But overall, it wasn't that great of a storyline, in my opinion. But it was only like 2-3 episodes, so... And then she kind of just disappeared. That's another thing that I want to say about season 4 is characters seem to just disappear. Because they had Scarecrow in the first 2 episodes, which I thought was really cool. And then in the second episode, he gets away. And then later on, he comes back and he's locked up in Arkham. And they just want us to expect that, or to think that he was locked up the whole time, when he clearly got away. So that was kind of weird. But overall, season 4 is my favorite season of Gotham. I love all of the seasons of Gotham. I love all of them. I could watch this show like so many times. But season 4 just happens to be the better of all 5, in my opinion. And I can't wait to watch them all again. I'm sad that the show won't be coming back next year. I think it was really just getting good and, better and better every season. But sad to see it go. But that's my list, so comment down below what your lists are. Did you agree with me? Did you disagree with me? What's your favorite season? What's your least favorite season, Tell me your ranking in the comments below. Like my video if you liked it and you want to see more content. I'm going to do another Gotham video, like I said in my Shazam video. I'm going to make a video where I just talk about Gotham and, what I thought about it, and kind of take a look back at the show. But please subscribe to support my channel. Hit the bell so you get notified every time I release a new video. And I will see you in the next video.